Hi, Capricorn. All right, so July, height of summer. Last month's reading seems to really have gone over well and really resonated. I'm so happy about that. I feel very connected to you guys. Actually missing you guys a lot. Can't wait to get home. Can't wait to go and have dinner with my Russian, with my best friend, Capricorn guy who's a Russian. Just talk politics and eat good food and yeah, enjoy. I feel like there is such a huge change coming for you guys that I'm actually trying to play it cool for you. You know, like the last thing you want is to make nervous a sign that doesn't get nervous. So when they actually get nervous, they get really, really, really nervous. The last thing you want to do is hype them and be like, okay, something really, no, it's all good. We're good. You know, sorry, it was just out of frame. We're all good. It's good. It's not, you know, but it is a big deal. There are some really big things happening. So let's intuitively pull some cards. The first card out is the Seven of Cups. And then after we've got some cards out, let's look at them. Once we look at them, I'm going to go into an extended reading where I'm going to tell you about the Cardinal cross, which obviously applies to you guys because you're a Cardinal sign. But we're also going to talk about the different placements and the different planets and what they're doing. And that's going to be part of an extended reading, which you'll be able to buy from next month. This month it's free just so you get to know about it and see what it is. Now, if you're here because you're a Capricorn rising, the extended reading will be really, really, really informative for you. I would suggest actually, if you're a Capricorn rising, to not watch the normal Capricorn reading, but to absolutely watch the extended because it will apply to you so much. It's a great way to understand yourself too. So that question comes up a lot. Should I watch the moon sign? Should I watch my rising sign? Certain things for certain things. Yes. If you're looking at your love life, but you're not very keyed in to your emotional energy, watching the moon isn't going to make much sense for you. But if you're totally in tune with your own moon, right, and you love through that energy, then sure, then watch it. So for example, if you're a Cancer, for some reason, if you're a Cancer, whatever your moon sign is, you can watch it because it will pertain to your love life, because that's just an energy you're really in tune with. Okay? So in that way, if you are rising, the chart we're going to be looking at and also how the planets are moving will really make a lot of sense for you as well. So stay tuned for that. First card out is the Seven of Cups. The confusion right before the huge decision needs to be made and logical things need to be done. All right, so Three of Pentacles, Nine of Wands, Five of Swords, Five of Cups, and the Devil card. So there you are. What's up? Oh, Capricorn. What are you guys doing, man? I think you regret some stuff that you've done. I think you have some misgivings about the way you behaved, but it's not going to change your mind. I think you're not sure if you want to stay in the relationship that you're in. I think it's been long enough and you're tired and you're bored, but you're not ready quite yet to change your mind because you are risk averse. And I think the universe isn't trying to hear that this month. This month, the universe is like, no, you have to handle this. You can't keep acting like this isn't happening. You gotta handle this, right? So, okay. Let's look at these cards. Why don't you look at the cards with me? And I'll pull some more. I'll pull like an outcome card as well, and let's look at them together. And then we'll go in. This is also why the extended reading is going to be helpful and why I saw the need to start doing them, because when you've got a spread like this and you've got a really heavy chart, this really isn't going to be enough to like give you the information you need to make the right decision, because you are coming up on a huge decision. Whether or not you're going to stay in a relationship or something that you're really committed to, whether it's an institution, a job, school, a place you live that you really like, whatever it is, that's being called into question, and it's not comfortable for you. It's very uncomfortable, because this is the Capricorn ideal of things just going really well and being, you know, in this pyramid shape and just working, right? And what you're coming into right now is just a time period where you don't know if things working is enough. You are starting to pick up on the fact that there is a lot of other opportunity out there, and perhaps, you know, starting to come out of this energy like, wait a minute, I don't need to just stick with this thing that I have. There's so many other possibilities that are open to me, because you are coming into a place of power. So it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Part of this cardinal cross is, remember, in your first house. It's in your sign. So you are starting to wake up from what perhaps must now seem like a fog. A fog that probably lasted, you know, a good, for some of you, a decade, maybe more, you know, or about a decade ago, you started to lose interest in the situation. But here we are, all of a sudden, I mean, we knew we were building towards this, where you've got to make some huge decisions now. Are you going to continue the farce? Whatever this is. I'm not saying you're lying to anyone, but if you are playing someone, if you do have another situation going on, if you do have a situation, for example, in regards to your work, if there's something going on there, if there's something that you're having to hide from a partner, hide from another person, hide from your boss, hide from your teacher, hide from your parents, there's some element to you right now that's trying to decide between, do I hide and use this energy effectively and just lie my way out of it? Yeah, or do I regret? Because if I tell the truth in this situation, for sure, I'm going to regret it. And those people will be very hurt, and those cups that will be spilled by my honesty will not be unspilled. Unspilled. Nice. All that education, and that's the word I came up with, unspilled. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, you have this decision now where you've got to decide. You've got to make up your mind finally. What does this mean? Is this an incredibly spiritually powerful person? Or, you know, and that powerful person uses their horns and sometimes has to knock some cups over? Or is this the basest nature of this energy? And it's going to kind of cheat and deceit its way to what it wants. Because regardless, Capricorn is going to get what it wants. We know this. But how? And it seems almost to you guys like, well, wouldn't it just be better to just lie your way out of it and kind of get away clean? Except that, like, what the Five of Swords is trying to tell you is that this is not a clean getaway. Look at how hurt those people are. And you're not cleanly getting away. You're taking stuff that doesn't belong to you. So lying, what this card is saying always is that lying, or, you know, bending the truth, or lies of omission, or just not owning up to stuff, is really energetic theft. You're taking from someone when you do that. But your point here, and I get your point, or the opposing polarity, the other energy here is saying, yeah, but is this better? Isn't this also a form of theft when you knock over somebody's feelings and really irrevocably hurt them, right? These cups can't be unspilled. They can't, right? Once you do this to a person, once you let them in on something that really, like, kind of makes them devoid of feeling for you and kind of empties them out, how do you come back from that? So if this is the choice, then the devil stands there going, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And what I'm saying is, when you have the placements you have this month, this is not an I don't know situation anymore. This is things come in and go, you know what? We need to fix this. It's been long enough. I've given you almost a whole year before I came around to this position, and you had a whole year to tell the truth and figure this out and not be in the Seven of Cups energy. And instead, you decided to stay where you were and just hang on to that situation because it was stable, or because it wasn't even that stable, just because it was safe. It wasn't even that safe, just because it was calming. Wasn't even that calming. Just because it was habitual. Capricorn. Right? And now the sun comes back around into your 7th house. We'll go into that in a minute. And it says, okay, you know, these relationships need to change. You can't be, you have to tell the truth. You've got to start telling the truth about what's going on here. Right? And then the 7 of Pentacles. Let's pull another card and see what this is informing. So 7 of Pentacles so far, what that's saying is, you know, a lot of what's going on for you this month is about what you're earning. It is about what you're committed to. This is someone who is committed to doing this and harvesting this. This is someone who has taken care of this and sown these seeds and watched them grow and has a vested interest in how this blooms and how it turns out. Not just because it's wealth for him. Look at his face. It's not just about wealth. It's about, look how much work I put into this. And I get that. But how much of that work is this? And how much of that work is guilt? And how much of that work is wanting safety? Come on. Let's be real, Capricorn. Right? I have written here full moon in the first. Full moon in your house. And what I have written here is, are you happy? Are you loved? Are you happy and loved in this situation? Yeah, it looks stable, but look at it. Is this fun? Is this what you want? To me, that's very sterile. In this lineup like this, it's very antiseptic. I don't think this is something you want. I think that's something you're very skeptical of now suddenly. Going, is this my whole life? Do I have to do this for the rest of my life? I don't want to. I already committed all this, you know? And now this energy is coming into the place of your chart where commitments are dealt with, where you really, you know, focus on commitments. And that part of you is going, I don't know. Yeah, I've been committed for a long time, but is that the reason to stay? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what informs this 7 of Pentacles. Now, when we do the extended, we're going to pull even more cards, because this card also came up in the Sagittarius reading. So we'll pull more cards for these and figure out exactly what this is. Because, of course, this could also be Capricorn, someone that's being deceitful with you. And someone who, out of this same fear and regret of not wanting to hurt your feelings and being aware that your cups can't be unspilled, doesn't want to tell you the truth. Really, it can go both ways. Of course, it seems to me here that this is very self-directed and Capricorn is the one doing this, but that's just how I identify with your energy. But in the extended, we can take a look at the other aspect of things. You can, you know, if you're watching because you're involved with the Capricorn, we pull cards to find out, you know, how those people are reacting to the Capricorn energy and what's going on. So, you know, just like a much more, the way I read for myself is the way I like to put it. So, but first of all, let's see what comes up for this 7 of Pentacles, what comes up alongside it in terms of an outcome card. So we know we have to look at what you're committed to, which for a Capricorn is kind of everything, right? Like, for you, the fact that that part of your chart is associated with Cancer is mind-blowing, because Cancer has so much depth of feeling. And that's the part of you that deals with commitment. So your commitments are deep. They run very, very deep. For you, I understand. I understand how this can seem like a very easy decision to just not tell the truth and not hurt that person. I get it. Because when your commitment, your sense of commitment runs so deep, it's almost to the institution of commitment itself that you don't want to commit the crime. You feel as bad enough as it is for what you've done, let alone to now mar the entire institution of it. You know what I mean? So, but I think the reason the cards are sticking and nothing is coming out, not almost, but not, is because I don't think you know what you want to do. I think this is one of those times for a Capricorn where this having to make a decision is something that you guys are going to draw out. You're going to spend the whole month weighing it back and forth. You're really going to let yourself be pushed into this, which is rare for you guys because usually you're the ones pushing forward. But this month, you're going to be dragging your feet, like digging your heels in, and the universe is going to be pulling you forward into a new life. Because at the end of the day, this thing that you're trying to hold on to that you don't really want, it's not making you happy. Is this happiness? Those 3 cards, is that happiness? Is this what we're committing to? Does that seem in any way fair to you and your life energy and why you're here? That singular purpose that you're supposed to have for your life, where you're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself. Where is that? Where is that happiness? Look how this card is associated with all these cards of, you know, darkness and not knowing what's really there. Both of these cards are about not knowing what's really there. Not being able to see properly. It's interesting that that dog is howling because that dog has been raised by a Capricorn, and I often think about why that dog is so spoiled and thinks that it can howl like that at everyone. And I do believe it's because it was raised by a Capricorn. Because just like I said here, you can't really see what's going on. When you love someone, you can't really see what's going on. You let them get away with stuff. You let yourself get hazy. You don't keep an objective eye about how they're behaving. You know, the owner of that dog, if another dog behaved that way, she would get really upset. But because it's her own dog, she doesn't realize that everyone that walks by here gets really upset by its behavior. You see what I'm saying? Like, Capricorns can be blinded by what they love. And so they can't tell right from wrong anymore. And when that happens, there is always conflict. So now either you will decide what you are committed to, or there will be enormous conflict. And I get that. I understand that. Because this, of course, this will cause conflict. Of course, turning a blind eye to what you love and not being able to see the reality of it, even if what you love and what you can't see the reality of is yourself, it will cause this dissonance, and this dissonance will cause conflict internally and externally. Here we are. So really shining a light on the most sensitive part of you, that part of you, Cancerian, what is associated with Cancer is also the most sensitive part of you, right? Just by the nature of that sign, and for you that being commitment. And then this 8 of Swords. I understand that there is a fear of loneliness and isolation socially and mentally if you go with what you really want. I get that it will be a huge, huge, huge change for you and you will feel alone. But I just don't see how this is any better. I don't. And why even, follow this road when you can so easily just be upfront, which is what no one in these cards is doing except this guy. He's the only one who's like, hey, this is what I'm like. This is what I am. Take it or leave it. And as weird as it sounds, that's the energy you need to embody now. Look, this is what I am. I'm sorry if that spills your cups. I'm sorry if that makes you feel like I stole from you. This is what I am. Here, this is me. This is what I've done. This is what, I'm just going to say it how, yes, maybe it will cause enormous conflict, but good, because how long are you supposed to commit to something that you don't feel anymore? Okay? So now this is where I would end the reading. But now let's pull some more cards and let me bring in the chart and you'll see how this makes so much sense. Let's start with this 5 of Wands. So you see here how it says passion and war. That's because you've got this Aries energy in your 4th house. Okay, let's take a screenshot of this real quick. So you have this. This is how your cardinal cross is working. And then take a screenshot of my notes. And we'll go through this and pull some more cards. And this should all make a lot more sense. All right. So the reason I have passion and war written down here in regards to, right, what's going on in your chart and why this 5 of Wands has come up, it's pretty clear here. When you look at how this Aries energy, which is about your home life, your subconscious, right? It says here, beware of old dynamics playing out. Who makes you feel loved, right? This is what's going on with your 4th house. This is ruled by Aries for you. This is how you live out your affection for your home life, how you approach your subconscious, how you deal with things, right? How you feel loved. And this is sitting across here from your 10th house in Libra, which is all about how people view you. See, it says here reputation and prestige. And I feel what's going to happen now is that this person who makes you feel loved is someone who can also ruin your reputation, or somehow, you know, really like doing this and telling the truth might be really, really bad for you. And I get that. But look, it says passion and war because it's that Aries energy that will be informing this. Okay, careful with your reputation, right? Careful with your rep. And then it says for too long. So that feeling of, you know, Jupiter also sitting in this 10th house for you, that feeling of, you know, I've played by the rules for a really long time, and now I just feel all this passion, and either we're going to love or we're going to war. And that's why I'm saying that this card makes a lot of sense to me, because that's exactly what that's about. It's about now we're either going to like be in love or we're going to go to war, but we can't stay in this stasis anymore. It's just not working, right? Now, part of the reason that this is also coming up is because you do have, right, cardinal energy in your 1st house. So really taking the self-image and looking at it again and saying, am I the spiraling up or the spiraling down version of this? Am I going to be balancing out my ego and what I want with my sense of commitment and what is needed from me? And where does that balance now go? You see how this is so perfectly laid out, right? Where is this balance now between myself and what I am committed to, right? How do I reconcile these things? And I think for a long time, the scale was balanced a lot more over here, where what you were committed to was a lot more important than you. And now you're coming into a time where it's like, no, I think I'm more important than the things I'm committed to. And I've got to really follow that energy. And that's where this other part of the chart comes in. That other energy comes in. So that's one. Now let's take a look at this 5 of Swords. If this is about someone else and not what you're doing, let's take a look at the 5. So first of all, hold on. Before we do that, I just wanted to see what was in the bottom of the deck. So if you don't kind of resolve this and we go into August and into the eclipse with the 2nd house, right? You have a lunar eclipse in the 2nd house in August. That's really about where your money's going to go now. But you got to make this decision before you can figure the money out. So if you don't make this decision and end up in some kind of like very argumentative situation, then of course you will feel lonely and isolated and alone with your thoughts. And if you're dealing with a Libra, you may end up in a court situation, and you may end up in a court situation anyway. So be very careful, right? And that, of course, could be really bad for your finances. There's a lot of secrets that can come out. There's a lot of situations regarding love and deceit that can come out. You don't want this aggressive air sign energy, right, coming at you in terms of finance. and seeing you now as a financial opportunity because they're hurt. Okay? You see how this kind of plays out? The energies underneath the cards are just even more of an extension of the reading. I love doing it this way because it's so, so clear. And underneath this whole thing lies, again, that same question. What do you want and what makes you feel loved? So the point being, no matter what road you take, you will end up back here. So better to not feel conflicted now and go through all this mess and just say it how it is, because we're going to end up back here having to take this risk anyway. Now, how does this energy apply if this really is about someone else who's not being honest with you? First of all, then it would definitely apply to an air sign. Okay, someone who is financially even trying to take advantage of you and really sees you as kind of a cash cow right now. It is definitely someone who is playing with your mind. Someone who is appearing very unbothered by what they're doing and really making you feel very regretful that you even entertain them. But going from feeling, you know, really like a soulmate situation to left out in the cold and miserable together situation. So now let's look at your placements and what happens when, and see how it applies to these cards. That person, if you are dealing with an air sign that you feel is being duplicitous and not honest, you're right. They're not. There's a lot of secrets there. There's a lot of cards of deceit out. And a law of equalizing karma, so be very careful. Now, Venus in the 6th house. This is one of, the notes that you screenshotted. Venus in the 6th house, work, romance heats up. Are you in love with your job? Is what I have written. So either this situation begun at work or this is about work. Mercury in the 8th house, thinking about the larger picture. So a lot of planets come into the 8th house later, but while it's only Mercury, you are really thinking about, this is thinking about the larger picture. It is trying to pull back and have enough perspective, almost a celestial perspective, and say, is right or wrong really that black and white? I get it. I get that you'll be feeling this way. And then Sun in the 7th house, changes in the relationship, tell the truth. So this is what we were talking about before, where you get to this point where you really are forced, even regretfully, to tell the truth because you must re-examine where your commitments are. And then the advice being to tell the truth, which is always the advice of this card. Always, 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 right? Then, full moon in the 1st. And to be quite literal, tell the truth to the Libra in your life. And then, full moon in the 1st. So full moon in your house. Well, here's the full moon. And there you are. Okay? What it says is, are you happy? Are you loved? See, my thing is, if you end up here because you can't make a decision and tell the truth, is it really that different from where you are now? It's not. It's just a cage of a different color, right? So unless you're happy and loved, the point is you're in a cage no matter what of your own design. By lying to yourself. The full moon's not going to let you lie to yourself in that way. It really wants you to figure this out now. And then we already knew Mercury was there in the 8th house. Then the Sun, the new moon, and Mars come in. And what I have written down here is redefining intimate values. Money doesn't matter anymore. That's what the lunar eclipse is going to bring you in August. And then I have written as insight, love and quality of life matters. Money doesn't matter anymore. Status, reputation, all the things associated with Libra for you in that 10th house, it doesn't matter anymore. Because if it feels like this, it doesn't matter anymore. If other people view you as being so great, but inside the relationship or the friendship or the work commitment is like this, who cares? You want this now. You want quality of life. You want to be happy and in love when you wake up and go to sleep. You don't want to keep trudging through it, surviving life. You're done with it. And even if you're not, all this activity in your 8th house, redefining intimate values, that it's not going to let you get away with this anymore. There's enough lying to others. There's enough lying to yourself. There's enough making people aggressive. There's enough letting people take advantage of you because you pity them. It's enough with all of this. And I have no personal knowledge of anything that's going on with any Capricorns. I've been like really kind of cut off from everyone for a few months now. It's just so funny how the intuitive cards we pulled fit so well with the chart and also with the notes and just with what's going on in the, in the heavens for you. So be careful. Be careful of a situation that's obviously getting out of control with the amount of control you're both trying to exert on it, and no one's telling the truth. Be careful because this moon is going to make you tell the truth and bring the truth out about stuff. Be careful of being too worried of ending up here when you're already here. It can't get much worse is what I'm trying to say. And really do yourself a favor before the eclipse next month. Figure out what you want to be committed to and for how long. And is it important? And is it worth it? Because remember the timeline. Regardless, we end up here again. You want to spend another year trying to figure it out? That's okay. No judgment. But while you have the energy, use it. Remember, the energy we go into the eclipse with will last for 6 months. For 6 months, you don't want to be asking yourself, is money important? You want this figured out. Is it money or is it love? If I have love, does that mean I don't get to have money? This is what will be examined now. And at the end of it all, the cards say, of course it's love, and you get to have love. Of course it's love. But be so, so, so careful. Right? Because pain and regret and judgment, it's there if you can't believe. It's like in the I Ching it says, when you have scaled a difficult passage, don't look back. Keep going forward. Don't look back for the thrill and say, ooh, look what I've just traversed and come over. Move forward now. Make your decisions. Come out of this period of not seeing what's obviously right in front of you. What's not in front of you that you think is there, and what is in front of you that you refuse to turn around and see. Realize that this situation is probably not what it's cracked up to be. Or else you wouldn't have to make these choices like this. All right? Good. Good. So, yay. See, that wasn't so bad. I mean, like, yeah, there's going to be some stuff, but you are well equipped. You have been doing the work. You need to now ask why. Yes, I do the work. We do the work, but why do we do it? Why do we do it? Do we do it to have the nice stuff? Do we do it to make a partner happy? Do we do it to live to a certain status? Do we do it for love or for fulfillment or for purpose? Where is your time going and for what purpose? Are those people reciprocating and making you happy, or is it just a burden now? How long are you supposed to carry that burden for others? What is the statute of limitations on how long you have to give up your freedom for another person or another relationship when you truly aren't happy and being fed? Where are these lines? How do you make these decisions? Now, this is the time. Now you get to let go or be dragged. It's a perfect Zen expression. You are going. Okay? You're going. Either you're going to, oh my God, I have the perfect way to put it. So, I didn't have a lot of guidance in a lot of like Western things growing up because like my parents just didn't know about them. So one of the things, funnily enough, maybe not so funny, that nobody really knew about was water slides. And that seems like a weird thing for nobody to know about, right? But like if nobody ever tells you about how to be on a water slide, that shit can be mad dangerous. So it happened to me. I was really little, and I went on this water slide, and I'm not afraid of heights at all, but I am I used to be a little bit afraid of water. I'm not anymore, but um, so I got on this water slide, and it was actually like a lot bigger, or steeper than I thought. And I started to go, and I got really nervous, and so I reached out and I grabbed the sides. And it seemed like just the smallest little piece of information that, a parent or an uncle or the guy running the ride would be like, yo, just keep your hands in, don't touch the sides, just keep your hands in to your, and maybe someone said that and I didn't listen because I was a kid, but regardless, and it was Action Park, which is like now notorious as one of those water parks with all, like so many people died and it was so dangerous or whatever, but like, whatever. Shout out Action Park, we used to go there. I always knew it was dangerous. I always knew it was too dangerous to be open. Like, even as a small child, I would go on some of those rides and be like, Uncle, isn't this really dangerous? Like, couldn't someone die here? And I remember, like, asking that poignant, like, moments where I'd be like, that's really dangerous. Like, someone could die there. And then watching, like, things about it later, and I think they're making a documentary, and, like, people legit died on that ride. Where I was like, yeah, that drop doesn't look safe at all. And, like, having gone through that drop on, like, the inner two and being like, yeah, you could just turn over and break your neck right there. What is that? So anyway, so I'm on the slide, and it was just like, it was scary. And so I reached out and I grabbed the sides, and it just tore my hands up. Like right here. To the point, like, it was so traumatic and it was so painful, and there was so much blood and so much, because I just kept hanging on. I was terrified, but we were going, and we were going to go, and we were going to go all the way. The water was going, and the gravity and everything, we were going, and I didn't want to go. And my hands paid the price, but emotionally, for years and years afterward, when I would feel, and this would happen very rarely, but when I would feel really frightened, I would like rub the insides of my hands, because for months afterward, my hands were wrecked because of that. Wrecked, Yeah. And that's how it's going to be for July, but then we're working into the eclipse, and then this coming 6 months. You're on this slide. This slide is going. You got on it. I'm telling you. Keep your hands inside. Don't listen, let go or be dragged. That Zen expression is everything, because the point of it is, the point of Zen in general is that there is a flow. There is a flow, and you can go with that flow, just like the water in that slide. You can go with the flow, or you can hold on against it. Holding on against it is futile. You will be dragged anyway. You're going where you're supposed to go, but you're either going to go calmly and having a good time, because I could have kept my hands in and just been screaming my head off and having a great time. Sure. But instead, that was the reaction. And that reaction was obviously based in a lot of other fear-based reactions that I had from growing up in an anxiety-filled household, right? So you can see how another child in that situation would have been like, wee, and had a great time. And instead, for me, it became an incredibly traumatic, bloody, scene. Because when I got down, there was already all this blood that had gone into the water and into the, and people were like, what is going, like, people who were waiting on the bottom were like, what is all this? And then I got off the ride and my hands were like bleeding, and the guy was like, what did you do? Like, why didn't you let go? And it's like, I don't know. Because the worse it got, the more I wanted to hold on. And that's what I'm saying. Don't do that. You'll just get really, really, really hurt. It's going to go, so let it go. It has to go, so let it go. You got to tell the truth, so say it. Holding on, it'll tear your hands off, but you're not going to be able to stay where you are. This risk-averse thing in your nature, you've got to push through it now, because you need this 6 months before your birthday. You need clarity. You need honesty. You need a new beginning. You need someone who really, really, really cares about you You need space in your life so that person can come into your life or grow that relationship with you. You need to get all this other stuff that's based in undue commitment to duty and whatever it is, whatever your particular way of indulging the people you love is. You need to really look at it. Who are you spoiling? Who's allowed to just bark and bark and bark in your life and have no consequences? This is the time. This is the time where you start looking at all that and going, no, no, yes, I like that. We'll keep that. No to this. Okay? Let go or be dragged. Let's not get dragged. Capricorns don't get dragged. You don't need to be dragged. Go with it. You got a fishtail. You can do it. You can do it. Find your current. You can do it. And it's right here. Cardinal cross. That's your current. You can do it. All right? I hope you enjoyed that. I'm so excited about these extended readings. I don't know if you can tell, but it's just the way I get to read the cards, and I love like taking cards from the bottom of the stuff that like I just do for myself, but it's so informative and it's so accurate. And I'm like, why shouldn't I do that? You know, I know not everyone's going to like the format. I know not everyone is into the astrology and knowing the houses. I know not everyone wants to know about their rising sign. So that's why that's now just going to become an option, you know, an addition. But I love doing it. So also, tickets for Oakland, first 3 Thursdays, are still on sale. I'll link it below. I'll link Elma's information, who did my hair, who cut and colored it. And also, what else? I will be in New York for all of August and almost all of September. If you would like a personal reading, please hit me up. If you would like to do a group reading, hit me up. That's one of the things that a lot of people have reached out to me about, where they want to do like little parties, where there's like 5 girls who really want to get readings, and so they're doing, you know, like they're hosting something together. That's cool. Also, I will be in San Francisco for all of October in the Bay Area, and I have some appointments times left. For LA, we're like getting down to nothing. I'm sorry about that. But hit me up, because, you know, people move their schedules around. I got people that are going from LA to the Bay Area because they also want to attend the event. So spots are opening up here and there, but it's very limited now in LA. I will be back in Europe from November until the new year. So if you're on this side of the pond and you would like a reading, I'm thinking I'll be in London for New Year's, but I don't want to promise that because I'm just a bit hesitant about how things are going right now in the world. So I just want to feel that out a little. But I love London, so it's not like I don't want to go. It's just I'm a little bit hesitant. All right. I hope you guys like that. Yay! I love you so much. I will see you in August.